And speaking of leadership, from the book, what we lacked in many an instance was what I should specifically emphasize: inspiring leadership. If the leader, particularly the formation commander, did not inspire his command, then that body of troops would be at half its effectiveness. So Leif and I talk about in Extreme Ownership, leadership is the most important thing on the battlefield. And here it is, another example of saying, he's saying that if the leader is not inspiring, they're going to be at half their effectiveness. For instance, if he visited a post and the men did not talk warmly, inquisitively, and fondly about the visit for the next week or 10 days, and if they did not perceive a challenge left behind by the commander, did not feel a spontaneous desire to meet it, in thinking hard to solve it, and bracing to present an innovative novelty to the commander on his next visit, then it is better that this type of commander did not visit at all. So he's saying, if you're not inspiring your people, it's better not even to show up. Many formation commanders failed to inspire. Not many of them roughed it out with the troops on patrols, ambushes, staying in their posts at night, on road opening and raid or hell landing missions. And this is an example of kind of a negative example, and this is very clear. And you actually see this portrayed in movies about Vietnam a lot, and you'll get that very quickly. The brigade commander would land by a helicopter in a post on a helipad, which had to be secured. So, soldiers had to go out and secure this helipad somewhere and set security around it and move the brush and make sure there's no mines on it, et cetera, et cetera. Then the general would breeze past a few bodies lying in the muck and mud, beam a flashy smile to affect unconcern for danger, have a hurried chat with the local leader, blurt out directions or orders, sip a cup of tea or coconut juice, showing no concern for the soldiers who labored under those circumstances to prepare it, and offer before you could blink an eye would be off in his chopper. What inspiration could his men in the post draw from that? It's a stereotypical thing, and it really happens. It really does happen. Oh, yeah. And, you see that with, not just military leaders, but you see that with senior leaders in big companies where, the folks on the front lines, on the construction site or in the manufacturing plant, the boss is coming. So what do they have to do? They have to do all this preparation. They got to clean everything. They got to get everything dialed in. And then the guy shows up for 5 minutes, and it took, 4 hours to get everything ready. The guy shows up for 5 minutes, flashes a quick smile, and then leaves. Mm-hmm. Is anyone inspired by that? No, absolutely not. Mm-hmm. We had 3 types of officers. One category was that which thought, acted, moved about, was bold, and got down to business fastest, even in totally alien, confusing, unknown environment. Getting down to business. That's the guy. The second one consisted of those who had the brains and moved about as best they could, but lacked boldness and ability to inspire. The third category consisted of those who simply slogged when prodded and complained about their troops not being trained, orders not being clearly given, and so on. They could do nothing else. Their units suffered. So that's the guy that doesn't take ownership of anything. Mm-hmm. Did you hear that? Complained about their troops not being trained, orders not being clearly given, and so on. That guy's not a good leader because all he's doing is complaining that the orders weren't clear. He's complaining up and down the chain of command. The guys below me aren't trained right. The guys above me aren't giving clear orders. This guy's a disaster. Don't be that guy. Don't be that leader.